Welcome to today's podcast, and with me today I have Magnus Corfitzen, CEO of Ascelia Pharma, and this is actually the first post-summer event with Ascelia Pharma. And back in May you came out with really strong headline data on Orviglance, and even better than you expected, and I think the investor community expected as well. So operation-wise, it looks really good for Ascelia Pharma. And then beginning of July, you came out with intentions to raise some capital.
Yeah.
So with that said, Magnus, welcome back. And could you please elaborate a little on operations, and then secondly on the statement from the 10th of July?
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. So as you say, in early May, we got the results from our pivotal phase 3 study, Sparkle, where we demonstrated that Orviglance, which is our lead asset, had met the primary endpoint and with a very strong margin. So all 3 radiology treaters saw a significantly better image with Orviglance compared to unenhanced, which is what most of our target patients are having today. We also saw not only 3 out of 3, but also the effect size and the statistical, you would say, hypothesis test and the p-value was also significantly orders of magnitude better than what is the threshold that we have discussed with the FDA.
Yes.
So based on the outcome from Sparkle, based on the 8 other clinical studies that we have completed with Orviglance, our manufacturing data, non-clinical data, everything, we believe we have an approvable drug that can come out to patients where it can make a difference because they are in need of something better. So this is a major milestone that we met in early May, and we need to move forward towards the registration phase and finding commercialization partners to bring the product out there.
And in connection with this very strong data announcement, you also came out with a timeline for what to look into next. Could you please repeat what you said back then, Magnus?
Yeah, sure. So we have the primary endpoint results, which is one of the first things that is being analyzed when a study has been completed. We announced that in May, and over the summer, some people have been working extremely hard to finalize the study report because it contains all the data, blood measurements and everything that is being put into one report, which is going to be obviously very important for the NDA process. We announced that we expect that one to be finalized, signed off and everything beginning of Q4 this year. We will use that study report to have a pre-submission meeting with the FDA to share our plans for the submission and how to structure it. We've already had some meetings with the FDA, so we have we are aligned in terms of what we have been studying and how we're going to do it. But we will have, like other companies, having a pre-submission meeting. We expect the minutes from that meeting to be in Q1 next year, and a submission, the full submission during the middle of next year.
Yes. So
super exciting times.
So Magnus, with that said, the 10th of July you came out with an interesting message about your capital structure, or intentions to improve your capital structure. Could you please elaborate a little on that?
Yeah. I mean, with the very good data we announced in May, we need to move forward. And there are 2 key objectives. One is getting commercialization partnerships. And there we want to ensure that we have a balance sheet that will allow us, you would say, the leverage to make a good deal. If we have a very weak balance sheet, that is more difficult. The other point is we want to submit a high quality NDA submission to the FDA. We want to make sure that when we submit it, we believe that it has the quality and it has been, all the bells and whistles that will make it a successful registration application. And we will get the best possible label to maximize the impact in the commercial market space. So to do that, we need to strengthen our balance sheet compared to when we announced the data. And we've been considering various, you could say, financing options following the data, and this was the option that was available to us, and that's why we announced it on July 10. To move forward and get the balance sheet to allow us to get our 2 strategic goals, partnerships, and NDA submission.
Yes. So when you talk about high quality in the NDA process, could you elaborate a little on that? Because I think investors' perception of you is high quality. So just to understand it right, what do you need more to secure that?
We are very ambitious in Ascelia. We want to make sure that we bring Orviglance to patients, and we do it in the best possible way. So it's not just about getting an approval. It's about getting with the best possible label in the most smooth process. So we are working with global experts, both in the clinical but also in other fields that help us make this high quality. So the application is both the study reports, but it's also summarizing, putting it together, putting it in the right context, and making the right arguments. So it's piece of it is data gathering, but the most important part is the positioning and the arguments and structuring. And there we have put together a very good plan with top external experts that help us make this a success.
Yeah, because for the investors it's important to understand Orviglance address an unmet need.
Yeah.
So it's not only the data.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Secondly, you address partnerships, and I know from my interview with the Deputy CEO Julia Brugren, earlier this summer, that you've been working with this for a long time, but you are looking to increase your capital base, also to improve your negotiations with a potential partner or partners. Could you elaborate a little on that, Magnus?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we are having a first-in-class product with an orphan designation from the FDA. We are targeting an unmet need that everybody recognizes, and I think increasingly not only the safety concerns for the individual patients, but increasingly also the effects of the gadolinium products on the environment, where the use of gadolinium contrast media spills into the environment, creating some concerns. There we have a non-gadolinium, a manganese agent, and that completely changes the dynamic. So it's obviously well known in at least the medical imaging industry that something new and exciting is coming around. Now we have the data that could help us put together an attractive partnership. But I think we're thinking also broader, not only the companies that are specifically engaged in MRI radiology today, but also a lot of specialty pharma companies and others who can see the data and say, agree with, you could say, understand the unmet medical need, the commercial opportunity, and how we can make an impact to patients. So I think this phase 3 data really has allowed us to change the dynamics quite a bit, which we're very excited about. And then you could say to be able to negotiate a good deal, we need to demonstrate staying power, and that we are not forced to make a deal tomorrow, because then the terms will be squeezed in the favor of our partner. So we think an attractive partnership with good economics for Ascelia and shareholders. We think that's where we want to go, and to do that we need more money than we have, you would say, today.
That really makes sense. So let's dive into the issue itself. So Magnus, could you please elaborate a little on the timeline and also what the issue includes?
Yeah. So this is what is known as a rights issue, which is different from when we raised money last time in 2020 and 2021. So this rights issue is structured in a way where all existing shareholders have a preferential right to subscribe. New shareholders can also subscribe, but the existing shareholders have a preference. So by all the details are of course in the press release, and we will be issuing a prospectus after the approval at the general meeting, which we will have on August 14. But essentially it gives the right to buy shares at terms that will be set out here on August 9. And then with the structure that has been proposed, if you have acquired a number of shares, then you will have some options to create some additional upside in the spring. So I think it's we've been looking at you could say, what are the market conditions, and I think this is where they are at this point in time, and then I think bringing in that capital for the company long term is super important to create the most value for shareholders.
Interesting. And by strengthening your balance sheet with equity instead of loan, of course that's a better situation for you. But you took in some loans in the beginning of 2024 with HC Capital. Could you, because that's probably the other part of the capital raising, could you elaborate a little on how are you going to work with HC going forward, and then what does the capital raising means in terms of the capital you got from them back in February 2024?
Yeah, we have a constructive dialogue with Fenja, and I think that also is reflected in the transaction. So, as you rightly put it, we brought in some loans and convertibles in February, and prior to the data coming out. And the structure that we are proposing for the general meeting now, in the rights issue, which is going up to a maximum of 105 million gross, guaranteed to a level of 70 million gross. Part of that will go to repay some of the convertible with Fenja. So we're using dilution down the road. We think that's a good structure and for everybody. So I think the structure, increasing the equity, making sure we have the financial capacity to meet our strategic objectives, partnership and NDA submission, we think that's paramount in this transaction.
Yes, Magnus, interesting. So if we should round off for today, could you please elaborate a little more on the timeline and what the units actually include?
Yeah, so we will have the general meeting for shareholders on August 14, where there will be a decision on moving forward or not with the structure. And following, if the shareholders approve, where a number of the larger shareholders and others have committed to vote in favor because they think it's the right thing for the company,
yes,
then we will have publish a prospectus, and then there will be a subscription period for the roughly second half of August, where investors, shareholders can utilize the subscription rights to purchase shares in this structure. It's structured in a way so that for every 3 shares that are being purchased in this financing, the investor will get an option, which will be utilized I think in April next year, at a price which will be set. The objective of that is to create some additional incentive to subscribe and support the company and take part of this very interesting value creating journey. And so if share price develops well, let's assume we do a good partnership, etc., then the warrants and the options will allow them to purchase shares at a set price in April, and thus generating even more upside for the investors.
Yes.
So we think that's a balanced structure and creating good incentive for our current shareholders to participate and support the company, to allow us to get partnerships and submit the NDA to the FDA. So very exciting future here over the coming next 12 months or less, hopefully. And there, we think we're on the right path. We have all the data and things in place. So we're strengthening the balance sheet to make sure that we can deliver on those objectives and become very successful and ultimately bring Orviglance to patients.
Thanks a lot, Magnus. Thanks a lot for your in-depth run through of the capital raise and how the situation looks in the company right now. We will, together with this podcast, of course, also announce a detailed plan for what to look for the investors, both in terms of the extraordinary general meeting, but also the timeline for when and how to subscribe, and then be aware of this is corporate action in your bank. So push your bank if you didn't receive anything and you're a Ascelia Pharma shareholder today. With that said, have a very nice day, Magnus, and I'm glad to see you in the studio again.
Great to be back here after the summer.
Thanks a lot.
See you, Klaus.
Bye.